In our previous video, we left the Caribbean and sailed north to Bermuda. In this video, we crossed the North Atlantic all the way to the Azores, and after all this time, things finally start to go wrong on board. Bermuda Radio, this is Soundfire. We're wondering if we could have permission to exit through the town cut out east, please.
Roger, your next port and the number of people on board, please.
Our next port is Ponta Delgada in the Azores, and we have 2 people on board. Over.
Roger, and your ETA?
Our ETA is 16 days from now.
Very good, sir. Have a safe voyage across. Nothing further at this time. Listening 16 and 27.
And we're off. You can't see it in the video, but Bermuda's still just visible behind us. And we're now heading out east towards the Azores. This is Steve.
Huh?
Steve will be joining me on this Atlantic crossing.
Huh? What? Atlantic?
What do you think of it so far?
It's very large and windy. Wet? Large, windy and wet. And occasionally it's slightly windier, and sometimes it's occasionally wetter. But I think it stays the same size the whole time. Although things do get closer. They get further away.
Good evening. It has been grey and now it's raining in grey. Good morning, it's Thursday the 20th of April, and we ran the engine a couple of hours last night, and I seem to have made a terrible mistake of having the starter motor engaged for the first 5 minutes of that time, which means I think we may have cooked our starter motor. So one of this morning's fun activities is just to see if there's anything we can do. Well, this is the insides of our starter motor, and it's not pretty. That's really chewed itself up. Now means our engine's a little useless. And we've just discussed it, and it's not a disaster. It's just a problem for our future selves, most likely when we try and arrive in the Azores, and we're going to need some help getting into harbour. So that's a bit of a shame, frankly. But the forecast looks quite good for wind all week. So we don't really think we need it for any other reason, apart from occasionally generating power, and we think we've got enough of that too. So I think in summary, just super annoying, really super annoying. I'm kind of like cross at myself for not noticing it last night. If we ignore the engine kerfuffles, it's a very nice day sailing out here. We're doing something like 6.5 knots in a straight line, heading straight for the Azores. Absolutely lovely sailing. Have a look. Good afternoon. We're now 3 days in, maybe 420 miles covered, only 1,520 still to go. Today is a brisk and breezy and gusty day, and grey and nasty looking in every way. "30 minutes later, things are picking up nicely again. It's like the dark side and the light side. I just don't know what to wear. We just got a big wave into the cockpit, but luckily Steve was blocking the companionway, so all was well.
I just saw the type of wave that got us. It's a double-pronged attack. You have to be faster than that. Next one. So if that second one had been ready to break.
It's been hectic for a few hours now, somewhat more than forecast, but Steve here seems to be roughly enjoying himself.
Sorry, I thought you were talking to me.
Talk to you now.
Oh, yeah, I am enjoying myself. It's thrilling.
How do you rate cooking on a boat, Steve?
It's slightly, it's different. It's more, it's trickier than cooking on dry land, and very dangerous. I think it's probably the most dangerous thing about sailing. Handling sharp knives and hot fat.
Do you fancy a cup of tea?
Do I fancy who? Thank you. Is that my tea?
That is your tea. I look my best. It's Sunday morning, and despite all our best hopes, it's carried on being immensely windy. So we've been running for, seems like, far too many days now with that was just a wave hit inside the boat, it's fine. Running far too many days now with these winds that hang around in the 30 knots and occasionally gust up to 40 knots. And
46.
Correction from the crew, 46 knots, but he hasn't got the photographic evidence to prove it. And the boat's running well though, so that's not a problem, but it does mean that we are mostly staying inside where it's much calmer and less noisy than it is outside. And we're hoping that around now it looks like there might be a bit of a dip in the wind, and that means we can get some more sail up and get some more speed up. We've got very little sail up at the moment just to keep the boat stable, but it would be nice to be a little bit faster, and the sea has got a little bit smoother. The only other downside is we can't play Jenga. It's really, really hard to play Jenga when the boat's bouncing around like this.
I was trying not to laugh at your Jenga. Do you have Jenga here?
No.
I'd like to try.
What's it like?
It's lovely.
It looks lovely from here.
It's, actually, the wind has come down a bit.
It's a lot smoother. Looks super smooth on camera. But we've been doing 6.1 knots, 73 degrees true while you've been sleeping, which is good.
Yeah.
But in the last 10 minutes, it's sort of pulled around by about 20 degrees to starboard.
Oh.
Oh, and there's a ship. It's about 10 miles off on the starboard quarter. And you can just about see its lights in between the swells.
Yeah.
And it should only come within 9 miles in about half an hour. So I was ignoring it until we actually suddenly went 20 degrees off to the starboard, in which case we would be only 2 miles off it in half an hour, or something like that. It's Monday the 24th of April, and we are going to want the wind more behind us over the next coming days, so we're going to go forward onto the foredeck and put the pole out, which will be a very bouncy and wet experience. So we're just getting kitted up with all our waterproofs on and expecting to get wet. Steve, you look wet.
You're waiting. How are you? We have a weather situation. A little bit of rain, a little bit of wind.
Coming up behind us now is doubtless the next squall line that's going to hit us with wind and rain, but on the positive, it is very beautiful. Good morning, it's 5:45 AM, boat time anyway, and we have a ship heading straight for us. We are the little red arrow and they are the green blob. But at the moment they're going to pass within half a mile of us in about 25 minutes, which feels a little close to me, so we're just watching them to see if we manage to pass safely, or if we have to radio them and see what they want to do. There they are. Gazchem Antarctic. 1 mile off.
Morning.
Morning. You've got us up to about 7 knots.
And I'll be going in the right direction.
Good enough.
That's good.
How's the swell?
It's not too bad today. Oh, I can't tell whether just getting used to it or...
First time in a few days we've been able to eat out.
And I think even though it's still quite windy and a bit choppy, I think we should try fishing.
When we're on a long trip like this one, we cross several time zones while we're at sea, and we could adjust for the time zones mathematically as we go by working out the right point to swap them. But if there's only 2 of us on board and our watch schedules are fairly relaxed, it's just a lot easier to make a decision at some point. And usually it's because, like for example this morning, we just thought that breakfast and sunrise just didn't appear to be quite in line with each other. So I'm going to add another hour onto the clock to kind of bring dawn and breakfast more together, and we'll keep doing that as we go and make the final adjustment as we get near the Azores. And the other fun thing about today is that we are halfway. So Bermuda is about 970 miles behind us, and the Azores, Ponta Delgada, is about 970 miles ahead of us. So that's great. We've been going for about a week, and I think we probably have a little bit more than a week left just because of the conditions ahead. But I think that's pretty good going. Quite pleased with that.
I'm replacing the lure that I lost yesterday, which I suspect was due to a really poor knot rather than fish biting it off. So I'm going to do an extra special strong knot today. See if I can do a little bit better.
We're having fish for dinner, right?
Exactly.
Wednesday afternoon, 820 miles to go to the Azores. Today's sea is what I'd call, I don't know what, untidy, messy, not really getting its act together. We're sailing along well enough though. We're doing 6 and a bit knots, and maybe 25 knots of wind. Winds from mostly behind us, off the port quarter. We're running downwind then. We've got, what have we got up here? We've got a mostly all the way out Yankee. Hidden there behind the triple reefed main is our staysail, sheeted in on the other side. That is running us really well downwind at the moment, and we should be able to keep that up for quite a while longer. Now if only the sea would tidy up, everything would be great, and it would be even better if we caught some fish. How was your day's fishing?
Well, I've still got the lure, which is something. That's a real result. Success!
It's a definite improvement.
Yeah. I think we're just going too fast for them, Simon.
Oh, for sure we are. Here's something alarming. So we left this cushion wedged in here in the fore cabin, which we don't use when we're on passage, and I've just pulled it out to get something, and there's this burned hole in here, and what's happened is while it's been wedged under here, these lights are the only lights on the boat which aren't LED lights anymore. So these ones always did get quite hot in operation, and clearly the cushion has bounced against it, flicked the switch on to turn the light on, and it's burned a hole, but luckily not actually started a fire. Wow. I really am just clinging to the mast, but it's quite wild out here, really quite wild. It's kind of fun clinging to the mast in circumstances like these, where I'm clinging on pretty tightly. Good morning. It's Friday, some Friday towards the end of April. We've been at sea now for 10 days, thereabouts. We've got another 4 or 5 days to run to Ponta Delgada in the Azores. And it's clearly, we're not in the tropics anymore, are we? It's been a fun trip, but very blowy, blustery, gusty, not very peaceful trip. And tomorrow things are going to get slightly more interesting, because there is a weather system coming through, a very fast weather system that's going to bring some actual gale force winds with it. So we've occasionally had gale force gusts, but really nothing sustained, and tomorrow we'll be getting some which are sustained gale force winds, maybe for 12 hours or so. And from the various forecasts we have, it's very hard to know whether that will actually happen to us, and hard to know quite when it might happen, but we thought we would do some storm preparation anyway. We may be experiencing a bit of overkill here in this preparation, but there's a set of things which we've never really practiced, never really used, halfway through thinking about, and this may be, rather than seeing it as a little bit of a pain in our journey, might be a good way of putting to action all the things that we think we should do and making sure we can actually do them. And we'll lose some time because it means we'll try and ride out this gale in the way that's most comfortable for us and really not try and make any progress, but I'm hoping it'll be a learning experience. So that is the plan. We have 24 hours maybe to get ready, so there's no chance like now really. It's very blue sky, it's lovely out. We're going to use our storm sails, which we've never used, or at least we're going to use one of our storm sails. So we're going to replace the staysail with a storm sail instead. And what we're thinking is we'll just run with that and none of the other sails up at all. We've been running with a real mixture of different sails depending on comfort and speed during the last week and a half. But we think tomorrow we'll just be onto a single small strong storm sail. So we've finally got that out of the bag and we're going to put that up in a bit. Right, this is our storm jib and I'm going to hang it on our inner forestay where our staysail usually hangs, and we'll see how we get on from there. Ready? Yeah, it looks good. I think we're all set. Do you feel you're all set, Steve?
Absolutely. I feel 100% confident that we're set for any eventuality.
I would say that despite the stormy weather prep, it's the nicest day at sea we've had for a week at least. Nicest day to be out on deck anyway. Nice day to be Steve eating pistachios.
And I've made a game up to throw the shells through the little triangle. Done it twice so far. Up 2 handfuls.
You've got to keep busy.
Yeah, keeping my mind agile.
Good morning, it's Saturday the 29th of April and today will be our day that is supposed to be very windy. And it's already quite windy, but it's actually quite a beautiful sunny day at the same time. We've taken the mainsail down, Steve's standing watch in the companionway, and from here the wind's supposed to just get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and then weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. So that's pretty much what our day is going to be doing, managing sails and the boat. But first we're going to have a cup of tea.
Riders on the storm.
Did that wake it?
Dum 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 dum. Nope, you missed.
Peaceful in here, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely and peaceful. Cruising along.
It is amazingly gentle.
It's 6.3 knots.
In the wrong direction.
Completely off course, but that's fine.
Now if you have a look outside, it's all a little bit mad. Up front now we just have the orange storm sail, that's the only thing we have up, and all we're watching for now is the swells and seeing how much they break, and so far it seems fine, and if it just starts to get a lot nastier we might consider the drogue, but we're trying to avoid it because it seems unnecessary at the moment. Whoa! And we have some sunshine. I hope it lasts, not sure it will. It's nice to see. That was it, sunshine's over, back to rain. Our hydrovane out there, poor thing, the flappy red vane that steers us in the wind. Every so often there's a really fierce gust and we're seeing
gusts of, well, on our instruments it says 55 knots, but I don't really believe that. I think probably high 40s makes more sense. It sometimes the red vein there slips out of its holder, not falling away but just simply becoming ineffective, and we've been noticing it a little bit late, which means we have to blunder into the cockpit and one of us steers the boat by hand while the other person tightens it back up again. So we're sort of babysitting that, because that's quite alarming when it happens. But other than that, we're still plodding along quite nicely. There's another squall coming. There's been lots of rain in with the wind and some quite vicious gusts in with the squall. But we've got to the time of day now where the forecast suggested things will slowly start winding back down again, which will be good, because we're not really going to get any sleep until we're confident that every hour is a little bit better than the previous hour. So this is Steve, hand steering the boat.
Sorry, it's not a laughing matter.
At midnight in a gale. And you may ask, why is Steve hand steering the boat at midnight in a gale? Is it because he likes having fun like this? I think what we'll do is we'll cover it in the morning when we can see what we're doing properly and explain how the night's going. Well, look at that one happy sailor.
Let us recap last night.
So we were sailing.
Yeah, we were sailing.
Right, sailing in a boat, yes.
On the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, right, yes.
It was April.
Okay, yeah.
And we ended up with taking more and more sail down, so we only had the storm sail up. And then we turned north and ran with the wind behind us, and the waves behind us. And that went quite well, didn't it?
Yes, yeah.
From what I remember.
Yes, suddenly everything seemed much more manageable.
And then the log kind of goes plank.
Ooh, I wonder why.
Stopped writing stuff down. The vane on the hydrovane, which normally sticks up like a little thumb sticking up outside the top of the hydrovane, had in the wind folded itself down.
Yes.
And we were off course, and that was clearly a little bit dangerous because we were relying upon running down with the waves and not across them. So since we're dependent on that for our steering, we carried on a little bit further, and then it happened again. I can't remember quite how many times we did this, but eventually I guess we had an option then of doing the electronic steering, which I didn't really trust to do a good job as humans. And luckily we had two humans, so we then alternated from there on, doing half an hour on, half an hour off, hand steering in the dark.
Until 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 o'clock, because that was about the point where it calmed down sufficiently for us to think that the electric autopilot could handle it.
And then we have since then spent all day napping. It was a hectic night, and everything we own seems to be wet, which is why I'm wearing my pajamas. And obviously we can add the bit in later about the giant octopus.
Oh yes,
like
yeah.
Reaching up
I don't think we need to get into it.
Fighting it off.
You know, too many narratives going on.
And now we're exhausted. It's been a lovely day. Be positive.
Yes, yes. Everything's great.
So this is the culprit on our hydrovane. This is the knob that we screw in to hold the vane really firmly, and it's worked itself loose. Certainly, it probably was working itself loose already, but certainly in the strong winds of last night it just seemed to have levered itself out. We're going to take it apart and see what we can do. Look who's back in action. This is the attachment that we've epoxied to make it put back together. Hopefully it will stick. We've only got a day to run, so we're just going to see if it works well enough for that, and if not, we'll go back to the electronic pilot. Look at that beauty. What's your conclusion on the fishing?
Needs some improvement. Oh, dolphins. There were dolphins, it wasn't me just trying to make excuses why we haven't caught any fish.
That was a cheap trick.
No, I swear, it was millions of dolphins. Look over there. Nothing to see here at all. No, yeah, it's fishing. It's not as simple as they made out in the YouTube videos. They said just throw a line overboard of the lure and they'll be jumping into the boat, they said.
So what's for dinner tonight?
Pasta. I just saw another dolphin. Look, there is one.
Look at these beauties. We expect we aren't the first people to make this mistake, but it looks like in the Azores, along with your Portuguese courtesy flag, it's polite to display the Azores flag as well. And we don't have one of those, but luckily Steve is using his artistic skills to create a monster from other offcuts.
35 years in the game.
It's been worth it then, hasn't it?
Yes, all for this.
So we think we just hit this whale.
Well, we definitely hit something.
There was a big thump and there's a whale just over there. Yeah, Steve says all the whale hit us. It wasn't a big thump, was it? It was
No,
like
it's like a little nudge.
it was as if one of the sails had like banged, but it wasn't a
I
sail.
thought we'd get a little freak wave or something.
Yeah, or as Steve's just saying in the background, in case you can't hear it, there's kind of feeling as if we've just been hit by a small wave, but in an unexpected moment. How weird. I hope we didn't hit him.
Yeah.
Hope he's alright.
Sorry, what did we do?
But when you came up, it was just here, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Just next to the boat.
Yeah, just and I saw, when I saw it, it was I saw the mouth open, so I thought, thinking he came up and gave us a nudge. So, oi.
Wow. Well, that's woken me up.
That's an event.
Wow. It's Tuesday morning, 2nd of May, and we're hoping to arrive in port today, but we have no wind, or very little wind. Ever hopeful though. Going to make a cup of tea, wait for the wind.
Land ahoy!
Excellent.
Just emerging from the mist.
How exciting. We're approaching it very slowly. Well, we've been struggling with light wind still on the way in, and we just got the coloured sail out to try and give us a bit of a boost, but a handy little squall has turned up and given us an unexpected speed again. So fingers crossed we can get a little bit closer this way. 15 miles to go. We finally resorted to the big sail. Hopefully there in an hour and a half, where we are looking forward to getting a tow into the marina. Okay, we'll come now. Okay, coming in now. Okay. Obrigado. Well, we had some good clickbait items
on that passage. So we lost the engine, we had a small fire, we had a gale, we lost our wind steering, and we hit a whale. But I think in reality, actually it was like 99% pretty fast and smooth, and that's probably how I'll mostly remember it. It was actually just a really fast, smooth crossing where for some reason I slept really well when I was off watch, more so than usual. So has a lot to commend it. About 14 days and a few hours all in, which really isn't bad. And I'm missing the sunshine though. It's a bit grey and a bit windy and a bit rainy here in the Azores, but I'm hoping it will cheer up as the summer comes in.